Well, hello and welcome to probably one of the most exciting days in my YouTube channel so far. I've been dreaming of this bike with this big British flag on it for months and months and months, and it's mine. It's here. So welcome to my first ride and welcome to my unveiling. So any guesses? Stick it in the chat now, but otherwise let's wait and see what it is. I seem to have picked the busiest, quiet spot because every time I'm here, nobody ever goes by. Anytime I get the camera out, loads of people appear. But I couldn't think of anywhere else to film, so I thought, you know, this will be a good place. So, well, have you made your guesses yet? I have been a bit obvious in some of the videos, but let's just see what it's under the cover. So welcome to my new bike, and let's see where it takes us in the future. So what I'll do now, I'll get the sheets off, and it's time for you to meet the bike for the first time. The wind dying down, I could take the British flag off. That was a very heavy towel and it was doing a great job at holding down the real sheet. So it's time to unveil the real nationality of my next bike. Ready? That's right, I've gone for the BMW Urban GS. I'll tell you about it on the ride, but let's have a look at it. Well, there we go. I hope you enjoyed my unveiling video there, and let's get back on the bike and see how it rides. Now, I've had an absolute blast on it so far, and it is certainly heavier, but not noticeable really. And of course, I didn't get to do an unveiling with my Triumph, so this time you're with me right from the start of ownership, which is really exciting, and it's an absolutely lovely bike. So let's jump on. I've packed everything away. I'm totally flat foot, which is quite nice. Okay, here we go. And that's all you get. So a rumble, 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 and a sort of dry engine start in the middle, and that's it. Otherwise, it just starts. Hopefully, first time, every time. So just while it's idling, you do get a little purr and a little rumble. That will die down soon. It's just idling slightly, but again, not unbearable. But does remind you you're on a motorbike, whereas some modern bikes I feel a bit too refined. The Scrambler XC, even though it's a 1200, you hardly know it's running, whereas this one you certainly do. And then if you need it, so this is me, flat foot, I'm not doing anything at all. It's a bit smelly when you first start it up, but I did prime it about 3 times because I was trying to do the whole sequence in one go. And we're off. I'm just shedding the road from my tyres, that'll do the job. Yes, so it's quite a smooth ride actually once you're on it, and I am certainly big up and tall on it. There's no question about the ride height, it's tall. But again, when I stop I can put my feet down, so it's not too bad for me. So it's an absolutely lovely bike, it purrs well, the fueling is absolutely lovely, and there's no sort of jerkiness at all. It really is just waiting for you, which is great. And you just when you're least expecting it, you get 3 bangs in a go like that. Just like that, you hear that? And there you go, 3rd gear, you don't hear anything, but first and second it's a full-on machine. So let's just turn them down one, lovely. Yeah, heated grips, pretty great actually, but I don't want to wear them out, so I'm not going to use them all the time. And again, what have I got coming up? Well, I've got the Helmet Head weekend at the end of the month, which I'm really looking forward to. And I was going to go camping next week on this, but unfortunately it looks like it's going to be 100% chance of rain. And, you know, although I don't mind bad weather, I don't really want to set off on a trip knowing that it's going to be soggy in the evenings, soggy at night. The lighting will be really bad for the videos, and ultimately I don't know the bike well enough yet to do that. So it just gives me a few more day trips with it, which I think is fair. Some of you might think I should just get on with it, and that's fine, but you know, I'm doing the riding at the end of the day, and this is my very, very hard-earned cash to treat myself to one of these. So, ta-da! I'm watching out for the white van. There he is. And I am going down there. Yeah, so it's got 6 gears, 110 horsepower, 1.2 litre engine. It's actually 1170 if you're really specific. And I'm watching out for a car popping out here. There they are. The tyres do create a funny sensation where you think you hear a car behind you, because often when you hear a car behind you, you actually only hear the tyres, you don't tend to hear the engine. And that's kind of what's happening a lot of the time. Is I go, oh no, someone's trying to overtake me on this tiny little road, whereas it turns out it's just the noise of my own tyres. And again, when I'm doing tiny little bits of sneaking, I'm wary of the engine, but otherwise you just kind of know that if your mirrors get through, you get through. Normally it's your bars, if they get through, you'll fit. But fun fact, the engine's wider than handlebars, so... And I don't have a rev thing, as I said earlier, but it doesn't bother me too much. I know when it needs to change gear, because you can hear it. And actually, the fact that it's white never really occurred to me. They're gonna... oh, sweet. Yeah, the fact that it's white, you know, I wouldn't buy a white car, but actually, there's something about it. I couldn't have it in any other colour but white. Firstly, because they don't make it another colour with white. But even if I had the option to do a custom paint, there's no other paint scheme that would work on this bike, because it pays tribute to the old bike. So there's no way they'd change the red seat and the white and the blue. I mean, next they'll give me a BMW flag, and that'll come standard with every purchase to wave like you're winning the rally on it. So it's great. So we're going to get back onto some slower roads and make our way back home. And yeah, it's not as confident in the wet as I was hoping for, but it does the job. And this, you know, it's so tough to tell, but I've got the luggage on the way, so the tank bag has arrived, so I'll be fitting that as soon as I get home, as long as it's not raining. There's a lot of in and out of the house, so I don't want to get soaked. So I'll be fitting the tank bag later. And the side bag, we're just waiting on the guy to come and see the Triumph, because essentially if he's not going to buy the second bag, then I'll just buy a 50 quid rack for this bike for the old bag, and I'll just make do with that for the summer. But if he does want the old bag, then I'll treat myself to a nice shad luggage, so you can only get a one side one. Nothing went wrong with Triumph, it's an absolutely beautiful bike. I still, as we're talking right now, I still actually have it. I'm on a multi-bike policy, and then I get a tiny refund when I go to change it. But so officially, yeah, I've got two bikes, the Triumph and this, but there's no way I could afford to keep both. Are they waiting? Yeah, nice. Oh, there we go. So that's it really, unfortunately. Well, I love this bike, I'm well chuffed with it, but there we go. And it all happened so quick, that's why you didn't get much of a a lead up to it. On the Sunday I saw a really good one on eBay. Messaged the guy, he was a keen seller, genuine guy, but it all seemed a bit too good to be true because the price was pretty bang on actually, at the top of my budget of what I could buy. Anyway, so he said, well, why don't you come and have a look at it? So I came and had a look on the Tuesday. I paid for it on Wednesday, it got collected on Thursday and delivered to me on the Friday. So actually, from Monday to Friday, I'd gone from kind of being interested and, you know, loving the bike to it being mine and it being in my name. And this morning I got the title. So I did film a video where I went out on it for the first time, and you will see that soon, but I think I was just in this amazed muteness that I hardly said anything. So the end of the video is quite exciting, and insurance wise they just wanted 30 quid for the admin charge, otherwise known as daylight robbery. They just wanted 30 quid for the admin changing of it all, and that was it. Officially, I'll stay in a low gear because of this hill. Officially, they don't want a tracker in it. They said, you know, won't make a difference to you. I will really miss my twin. You know, I've been a bit harsh on it recently, but that's because when you find something new, it's easy to criticise what you've already got. But had I never found this bike, you know, I would have got through the summer on the twin, I reckon. Officially, I'm insured till September, but financially, I do need to recuperate the dip that this has caused me buying this in cash by the sale of the Triumph, just to keep the boat floating, really. So why did I get rid of my twin? Well, it was a heartbreaking choice, and I haven't yet seen it leave to the new owner, which is why I'm not as sad as I think I will be, because it will be tough to see that beautiful bike go. But I know the new owner is a fan of the channel, hi Jack, and I just know he'll look after it, I hope. And it'll look after him, I hope, as long as he puts enough petrol in it. But for me, Cornwall just showed that I came back and I'd done about 500 miles in 4 days, which was pretty good going. And I came back and I looked at the chain and it was so sad, and I just thought that was mint when I left. So unless I'm doing the chain lubing wrong or something, I kind of was really keen actually to see what bikes were available with a shaft drive. So the first thing it was for me really was just the chain maintenance. You know, my dad's really busy. I feel bad dragging him out the house all the time to help me with the chain. And you know, you can only spend so many cold mornings on the garage floor cleaning a chain, rinsing a chain, drying the chain, lubing the chain, tensioning a chain. There's just so much going on, and I thought this is distracting from the riding experience. And then after I test rode this, that was it. There was nothing in me that would go back. So there are loads of things that I'd like to change about the bike, but even the 2021 model doesn't have the things I'd do to it, so it didn't seem much sense to me to get the newest version, purely because it just did not make a difference. But essentially it doesn't have a fuel gauge and it doesn't have a gear indicator. Revs, I've never been interested in revs. I don't care about revs at all. To be fair, like, I know what it sounds like, I know when it's struggling, I know how the low end is and the high end is, and I know I get that feeling when it's chugging along, and I don't want to look down there all the time. And if you notice, the speedo on this is tiny anyway, so I don't know where they would have put revs. If you went with the road version, literally just called the R9T, they have twin clocks, but the problem with that is they're plastic. They don't look very high quality, and it didn't make much difference again. But there are other things, as we're talking indicators now. I've got LED indicators, heated grips as standard, and then it came with all bits of protection. So for me, it just made a lot of sense. And the weight, I'm not really scared of the weight actually. It's quite manageable. Now I've sorted the clutch to exactly where I'd hoped it to pull. Right, thankfully they've gone. I'll bring you round to the front now. So these are Wunderlich handguards. They came, the previous owner put them on. Thank you very much, John. Standard screen, standard big front fender, and then the real fender which is hidden under there. This bike also comes with huge big engine protectors which are pretty beefy, and then a crud catcher, and again that's Wunderlich, and that is made in Germany, sold in the UK. So they're quite hard to find, but thankfully John's fitted one. So that's about £95, that's about 150, and then I've got a rear hugger come round here. And this is my rear hugger as well, and again, he had that on the bike anyway, and it's so nice of him to not try and take it off and then sell me it. He just threw it in, and it's already doing its job. And that's it. There's nothing more to it than that. It's just one beautiful looking bike. I thought I'd be a bit annoyed about it not having gold rims, but actually in person you really don't miss the gold rims. So why did I swap this for the Twin? Well, it was a hard decision, but after I got back from Cornwall I looked at the chain of the Twin and it looked so sad, and I thought, oh god, I've only been out for 3 days in the sunny UK and it looks like that again. What can I possibly do on a 30-day trip? And there's no question the Triumph would get you through a 30-day trip, you know. I've had 2 weeks on it and it was beautiful. It never gave me any problems. Started first time every time and never had any weird electrical faults or anything like that. So the reason I didn't get the big GS is because they're quite old man-ish compared to my age. They're a bit older than I wanted to have. So I know Username Kate's got one, but I'm still about 10 years off Username Kate. But I can see the attraction in the big GS, but nah, this does it all. And I don't want a big screen telling me that my fuel is low, you must immediately pull over. Like, let me risk it for a bit, let me have some of that lifestyle where you go, oh, I'll probably make it. So the first reason I went for this instead of the Triumph is because the chain maintenance, you know, I've had a motorbike for 7 years, I've only been YouTubing for 1 year, so obviously you don't know how much experience I've got, but I can tell you quite a lot in the 6 or 7 years on various bikes. So the first thing for me was chain maintenance. I just felt that motorbikes are becoming a luxury again for me, and it felt a little bit silly to always have to be scrubbing that stupid chain all the time. The second thing for me was really fuel range. Now again, the Street Twin will get you to anywhere you want to go, and just like any other car or motorbike, if you plan a trip that's longer than your fuel range, you are gonna need to fill up, and that's pretty much expected. But there were just days, like when I go to the seaside with Steve Bolter or India, it would be so nice to not have to get petrol on the way back every single time. Like, I leave on a fully brimmed tank, and for me it was just a bit of a pain to always be filling up on the way back. And it just kind of showed me, you know, that yes, that's fine in the UK where we've got our petrol station infrastructure, and I know the brands of the petrol station, I know what hours they're going to be open. You know, I've never got to a petrol station they've had no petrol. But what about when I start my proper touring, the things I actually set my channel up for? What about when I start that and I'm in some funny country and not English isn't everyone's first language? You know, I don't want to have to be stopping all the time and saying, oh, Guten Tag, or, you know, I can't say the other words. But for me it was just that kind of sense of, you know, let's plan this out a bit more, you know. And I just felt that although it only realistically gives you 50 or 60 miles more of the range, you know, my riding style, that could pretty much do a whole day sometimes. And ultimately as well, this does share a lot of parts with the GS family, as I previously mentioned. And one that also includes is luggage. Because one problem I was having all the time was that it's quite hard to find hard luggage for a Triumph Street Twin, just because not much of a demand. Whereas again, because this is part of the GS family, it is quite a lot easier to find your luggage and all sorts. So it's one of those things for me, really. And that's it, basically. You know, there's not much of a reason why I've got one of these instead of the Twin, but there's just, you don't know until you've ridden one what else things are. And then when I rode this, I was so impressed, to say the least, with what was happening underneath me and all that. So yeah, suspension's not as good as I imagined, but I am on knobbly tyres which tend to sort of hook the speed bumps as well, which is really fun, so it makes the speed bump kind of twice as worse. So the goal is we're going to try and find this windmill, but I am way out of my route. I can't remember what wrong turn I've taken, but I am really not on the route I was planning to be on today, which is a bit awkward. I don't know where I am. Let's just get as far as we can. Still makes me laugh how big the engine is. If you haven't seen it already, there it is. Just huge. It's wider than the handlebars, and it's just this comedy-sized thing. So it's looking like it's just traffic from here onwards, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video here. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you like my new bike. I absolutely love it, and you know, I'm buying it for me, and I happen to film it on the channel, and there's some absolutely excellent stuff to come. So I hope to see you back again soon, and thank you very much for watching.
Einen Jura hör ich gern aus der Nähe und von der Fern. Mit der Liebe im Herzen drin singt ihn jede Sängerin. Darum zieh ich jedes Jahr in die Berge, das ist klar. Und ich sing mit frohem Sinn, weil ich dann in Urlaub bin. Der bringt Stimmung und macht Freud. Wie ein heller Sonnenschein leuchtet er ins Herz hinein. Überall